M. Morninghow said Mr. Spence had called the police to say a man in his room had just robbed him of $6,000 at gunpoint. When the police arrives, Mr. McKelvey said they found Mr. Spence and another man, Casey Reagan, 22, in the room arguing. Mr. Spence told the police that Mr. Reagan had stolen a gun from him and then used it to rob him. The police also found a small amount of cocaine in the envelope. Mr. Spence was charged with criminal possession of a .32 caliber pistol and with criminal possession of a legal gun. He was released on his own recognizance. Mr. Reagan was charged with possession of the gun and the drug and also with armed robbery. At his arraignment, Mr. Spence said that he met Mr. Reagan on Times Square and they returned to his hotel room. Right? Okay. So here's all of the information about the Bushes and the Reagans and these young boys and all of that. So we're not just talking about Trump. We're not just talking about Clinton. We're saying that this shit goes all the way back. All right? It goes all the way back. This is their culture. This is what they do. This is what Obama and them was doing. Because Obama is tied to Podesta and to the Clintons and to fucking creepy ass Joe Biden. All right? Your boy, Barry, who they said was one of the, who the rumors of homosexuality, carries on to this day with the murder of Larry Sinclair, who was his lover. This is from Wikipedia. The Franklin child prostitution ring allegations were a series of high-profile accusations and legal actions between 1988 and 1991 surrounding an alleged child sex ring serving prominent citizens of Omaha, Nebraska, as well as high-level U.S. politicians. The allegations centered on the actions of Lawrence E. King, director of the Franklin Community Federal Credit Union, So he's Jeff Epstein before Jeff Epstein. Okay? King was eventually convicted of embezzling $38 million from FCFCU and served 10 years of a 15-year prison sentence. Paul A. Bonacci, who claimed that King abused him for an extended period, filed a lawsuit against King in civil court. When King failed to respond to the charges, United States federal judge Warren Keefe Unborn entered a default judgment for $1 million against King. Okay? But he never went to jail for those crimes. They covered them up. They cleaned up. Mad people got bodied. Niggas' planes was falling out of the sky. You know what I mean? Go and look at, when you have a chance, Conspiracy of Silence. Disclaimer. This is a fact-filled, information-laden lecture for research, education, and edutainment purposes only. Do not take anything that I am saying for law. Go and do your own research. But if you take it for law and you understand that I'm reading from actual news articles, I'm not shooting from my hip. This ain't how I feel. This is not me saying that I spoke to the ancestors or I was, I was channeling Prince and this is what they told me. No, nigga, these are articles. This is real information and I'm just digging the shit up where, in a shallow grave, and I'm like, go and do further research. You know what I'm saying? Share the information. Spread it. It's not my information. This video, though, is mine. Don't share that shit. Like, this is intellectual property. But the information inside of it, it could be you could research it. Here's a book that you could order from Amazon. The Boys of the Dark. A story of betrayal and redemption in the Deep South. Okay? The White House Boys, an American Tragedy. Go and get The White House Boys, an American Tragedy. Okay? They want to talk about R. Kelly. We're going to talk about them. Right? First them, hashtag. That's what they talking about. So Father Flanagan's Boys Home. Right? Father Flanagan, the Boys Town. We're tying in, when we got into all of this with this dude right here. The Franklin cover-up with Larry King. But Larry King is tied into the Boys Town controversy or the Boys Town cover up. And the Boys Town, Nebraska is a world famous group home. Big time shit. Father Flanagan, right? Which is like a father. You know what I'm talking about? They brought in $131 million in private support. Their revenue was $393 million, right? They was getting to the motherfucking bag. And this is one of the biggest, quote unquote, boys' homes in America. But that boys' home was funneling boys to the White House. That boys' home was funneling young boys to these pedophile rings. They were sex trafficking these young boys. Human trafficking is a $150 billion global industry, according to the International Labor Organization. And the UAE is a center of gravity for the industry. Sex trafficking, where an adult, the UAE, the United Arab Immigrants, where the first slave trade was the Arabs. And it has never stopped. They are still trafficking humans. It's called slavery. It's not slavery anymore. It's called human trafficking. But god damn it, nigga, they selling humans like birds. It's slavery. Huh? You know what I'm talking? They checking your teeth. They checking your nut sacks. You know what I mean? They giving you colon. You know, they checking your prostate. They checking your muscles. You know what I mean? How they do them niggas at the combine, the football players. All of that shit where they checking through your hair and whatnot. They doing all of that. They selling women. They getting on boats when the Africans, the migrants are trying to cross the Mediterranean. They're intercepting boats and they're taking them niggas and they're selling them for body parts. They're selling the women into prostitution in Libya. If you want to come into Europe, you got to be a fucking thot. Sex trafficking, where an adult is coerced, deceived, or forced into prostitution or maintained into prostitution by those means after initially consenting, is the most common form of modern slavery, according to Polaris, which operates a trafficking hotline in the U.S. So for niggas that's ADOS, and for everybody that's, you know, can't wait till they come out with a Harriet Tubman $20 bill and you be talking out the side of your neck about what you would do if you was alive. Nigga, you alive now and slavery is fucking right. What are you doing? What are you doing? You getting on your, you know what I'm saying? You getting on your Harriet Tubman, nigga? You freeing the slaves? Because if you travel to Europe, if you travel to Rome, if you travel to Italy, if you travel to many of those places in Europe, nigga, you're going to see those slaves. You're going to see those sex traffickers from Nigeria. The Nigeria mafia is out there running them. You're going to go and see. If you go into Thailand, you're going to see them goddamn little 8-year-olds that's being sold. You understand? If you go into Haiti, you're going to see them little babies being sold. So niggas see it and they don't say nothing. In the UAE, the United Arab Immigrants, where a lot of the Instagram models be flying out to, right? To get defecated and urinated on by these sheiks and whatnot, who have all of these fetishes for all kind of depravity. I'm talking about sexual deviancy. You know what I'm talking about? And they come back on Instagram like they came up. You know what I mean? But you was getting shat on by a motherfucking a goat tip, a fucking you know what I mean? Like a goat herder. By a fucking ock. Not even a corner store ock. You know what I mean? You all up in the UAE trying to look cute at the Chanel store in Dubai. But nigga, we know what's going on. We're not impressed. According to the State Department report, some women, predominantly from Eastern Europe, that's where the Slavs are for. That's where the Moors used to sell white women in Eastern Europe. Like I said, nothing stopped. Nothing has changed. They only changed the names to protect those that are guilty. Some women, predominantly from Eastern Europe, Central Asia, South and Southeast Asia, East Africa, Iraq, Iran, and Morocco, are subjected to forced prostitution in the UAE. If your Wiz or your BM is like, yo, I'm going to the UAE because I just want to learn Arabic or I want to go to Mecca, nigga, you already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? She's on Google Translate giving these niggas a price. Because they on the gram. They be on the Explorer pages. Muhammad Ibn and all of them. You know what I mean? But all of these places that I just named, this is where slavery been going down, and it's going down to this day. This is where they were selling, the Moors were selling women. Women were being sold by Arabs. Women were being sold by sultans. Women were being sold on the Silk Road. Women were being sold up and down, and they're still being sold to this day. Eastern Europe, that's the Caucasus Mountains. That's like where the Kardashians and all of them from. That's Poland. That's all of that. That's that Russia. That's Trump's wife. Central Asia, South and Southeast Asia, Thailand, Indonesia, where all of them little babies is from, right? Okay, where you can have where child sex is in the open. East Africa, in the open. Iraq, where they were going in Iraq. You ask anybody who was a soldier in Iraq, the babies was getting prostituted. Iran, the little girls getting prostituted. Morocco done, the French went and took over Morocco. If you see Battle of Algiers, what happened in Battle of Algiers? When they started the revolution, who did they kill? The sex workers and the pimps and all of the undesirables before they went and kicked the French out. Prostitution going down over there. Okay? Let's just go by the numbers. Human trafficking by the states. Texas is the biggest state. For anybody that lives in Texas, anybody that's in Texas, anybody that got children in Texas, you need to be on alert at all times. No, not organized marriage. Sex slavery. Not where they're with one mate. I'm talking about they selling sex. They're sleeping with at least 10 men a day. Body count out of this fucking world when you do the math. Not organized marriage is another thing. Child marriage is another thing. I'm talking about sex trafficking and human trafficking. It's different. It's not the same thing. Human trafficking cases, California, California got the most. California, the movie Taken. California, 682. Texas comes in second, 307. This is where these white supremacists are. This is where these quote-unquote KKK individuals are. This is where the quote-unquote rednecks are. This is where they have these farms, these underground tunnels. This is where in Austin, in Dallas, which is the fucking headquarters for white supremacists. So they got their hands deep in this shit. This is their culture. And astaghfirullah for all of you women and you sisters who lay down with these filthy beasts. New York, 173. Ohio, 186. Florida, 265. Human trafficking is the fastest growing business of organized crime and the third largest criminal enterprise in the world. Why we don't know about this? These niggas rapping about selling birds all day, but selling human bodies is taking over the birds. Michigan's reported human trafficking cases increased in 2017. Do you see that map, y'all? Do you see that fucking map? Look at that map. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's crazy. Talking about bring back the girls and all of these missing people. No, the media is covering up some heinous shit. They're not giving it to you straight. It's a pedophile ring. Remember the Mexicans, the Jamaicans. Jamaicans are selling young girls in Jamaica for their organs. They're kidnapping babies and selling them because they don't want to sell coke no more. It's easier to kidnap a woman. You could kidnap a woman and sell them to the Israelis, to the Chinese, to the Indians because they want your liver, they want your kidneys, they want your eyes. You saw Get Out. They showed you that in Get Out. And Atlanta is the hub in America for all of these people that are being quote unquote trafficked. You saw Get Out. What happened in Get Out? They had a party where they were it's like a bingo party where they were bidding on body parts. In In Jamaica, they are kidnapping little girls, and them little girls are coming up with their organs missing. Niggas is looking like Vibes Cartel and all of that. All of these Jamaican niggas, the Shatas and all of them, they violating. They selling their own people into slavery. This is more of that case. The disturbing details of America's greatest child sex scandal, the Boys Town scandal. So go and look up the Boys Town scandal. When you want to get on the them first bandwagon, yeah, go and throw that at them. You know what I mean? Hit them with the Boys Town. Elijah Wood, says Hollywood has a pedophilia problem. Before Elijah Wood starred as Frodo Baggins in Lord of the Rings trilogy, he was a child actor. Look at his face. That nigga is traumatized. You could look at him and tell. When I was looking at Lord of the Rings, I couldn't really look at him because I could pick up on the trauma. I could pick up on the pain. It was a little too real. He was when he was going up against Precious. What was Gollum? It was a little too real. Like that shit, it bothered me because Elijah is hurt, y'all. Okay, Elijah is hurt. Elijah is traumatized, right? All right. He's now making some explosive allegations about the state of Hollywood. The actor, in a new interview with the Sunday Times, is accusing Tinseltown of having a pedophilia problem, saying a lot of vipers are preying on children in the business. Clearly, something major was going on in Hollywood. It was all organized. There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interest in mind. There is darkness in the underbelly. What bums me out about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. That's the tragedy of attempting to reveal what is happening to innocent people. They can be squashed, but their lives has been irreparably damaged. If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed, he went on. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey. What upsets me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. As a child, Wood starred alongside Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son. Remember The Good Son? Who saw The Good Son? With a young, right? The boy killed the other boy. That's what they have these young children doing. When you get deep into this shit, you'll have children saying, oh yeah, they made me slit a child's throat to prove my loyalty, so I won't get my throat slitting, and then drink the blood. As a child, he'd appeared in The Good Son and appeared in the remake of Flipper. How convenient. He said his mama, Deborah, protected him from the dangers of Hollywood as a child. And he never went to parties where that kind of thing was going on. But you know what happens with these child actors in Hollywood. They start smelling themselves. Now, you can't tell me nothing, mama. And then they have handlers and they have managers. And what do? They create a wedge. You saw the story on R. Kelly, the surviving R. Kelly thing. The sister, even though, that's a whole nother story with the Savages and whatnot. But the sister took the other sister to the studio. And what happened? R. Kelly figured out a way to get the sister to go to another hotel room. Then when the sister, who was the guardian, went looking for her, she found they blocked her. They blocked her. There was all kind of people that were working. They were organized, and there were all kind of people working for R. Kelly that blocked the mother and the father and the sister for having control over this young impressionable child's mind. So the child is like, can't nobody tell me nothing on their little Nas X shit. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm gonna go to these parties. I'm gonna go sniff some coke. I'm gonna go get lit. You know what I mean? And then boom. He added that he's been led down dark paths to realize that these things probably are still happening, right? Wood's comments came after allegations against Woody Allen resurfaced in the past months. The Cannes Film Festival kicked off with a rape joke many took to be aimed at Allen and also Roman Polanski. Wood was on press tour to promote his new movie, The Trust, that premiered this month. The conspiracy theory behind a curious Roseanne Barr tweet. Roseanne Barr capped a remark. This is before she got her show canceled. This is before they made whatever statement she said. They blew that bitch up and was like, oh, she gotta go. Right? But she was already hot because she was out of fucking code. She said some shit out of code. Because she's a Trumper. So, you know, white people get hype about Trump. Then they're like, yo, he's draining the swamp. He's going to get rid of you Democrats. Because when the Republicans are banging on the Democrats and Pizzagate and all of that, they're really banging on this pedophilia shit. But then they act like the Republicans' hands are clean, which is a goddamn lie. All of them are into it. But this is how they're fighting each other. And this is how they're trying to defame each other. And this is how they're trying to blow each other up with the quote-unquote dirty dick scandals. Okay? And child sex and pedophilia, because that's a blemish that you can't remove from your record. That's a blemish of character that you just can't wash off. Okay? Roseanne Barr capped a remarkable week of new media relevance with a tweet that seemed to fly out of nowhere, unless you're a close observer of far-right media. On Friday night, the star of ABC's revised smash hit sitcom began rounding up praise for President Trump on the very specific issue of child trafficking. He has broken up trafficking rings in high places everywhere, Barr tweeted. Notice that. Over the next few hours, Barr retweeted supportive tweets and links to articles about the untold story of how the administration was breaking up pedophile rings. One link to the little-known site The Liberty claimed that by the second month of Trump's presidency, police had arrested 1,500 criminals nationwide who are connected with these pedophile rings, and that they are suspicions not only Hollywood is involved in the pedophile rings, but also politicians. The same sort of information popped up in bars and with the hashtags Pedogate and Pizzagate. The exploitation of drag kid Desmond is amazing. Desmond is amazing is an 11-year-old drag performer who became a mainstream media darling. However, after a video of him performing at a gay club for tips surfaced online, a dark side was exposed. Is Desmond being exploited? Nigga. What's his name? What's the basketball player with the gay son? Is his son being exploited at 11-year-old at pride parades? Dwayne Wade? Because you around grown men who are pedophiles. But look at what they had him with. They got him sitting on a YouTube video with a convicted murderer on December 25th on Christmas. A gift to everybody. Desmond appeared in a YouTube video with Michael Alec, the founder and ringleader of the Club Kids, a group of young New York club goers that became a cultural phenomenon during the 1980s and 1990s. If you want to do the research on the Club Kids, that's a lot of the quote unquote, you know, they brought in that's the young gay white kids who, you know, was in circles with Basquiat, in circles with, you know, Studio 54, all of that stuff. Even going all the way up to Peter Gation, who was the owner of the Tunnel, and all of that. They were doing a lot of gay stuff in the Limelight, one of the clubs that he owned, and at the Tunnel, but not on Sundays with hip hop. They was doing shit on Saturday. Okay? Most people know Michael Alec for a darker reason. The gruesome murder of Angel Melendez in 1996, for which he served 17 years in prison for manslaughter. Remember the Melendez murder? On the night of March 17, 96, Alec and his roommate Robert D. Freeze Riggs murdered Melendez after an argument in Alec's apartment over many things, including a long-standing drug debt. Alec has claimed many times that he was so high on drugs that his memory of the events is unclear. How you gonna do 17 years for murdering somebody? This nigga's doing 80 years for selling crack, bro. What the fuck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Look at what he did, though. Look how he murdered him. That's what I'm saying. This ain't no regular murder. This was a heinous crime. Let me move this thing real quick so I can read it. One second. According to Riggs, he hit Melendez a total of 3 times on the head with the hammer. Then Alec grabbed a pillow and tried to smother him. While Melendez was unconscious, Riggs went to the other room. When he returned, he noticed a broken syringe on the floor. Riggs claimed that Alec was pouring some cleaner or chemical into Melendez's mouth, then duct tape it with the help of Riggs. After Melendez's death, Alec and Riggs did not know what to do with the body. They initially left it in the bathtub, which they filled with ice. After a few days, the body began to decompose and became odorous. After discussing what to do with the Melendez body and who should do it, Riggs went to Macy's to buy knives in a box. In exchange for 10 bags of heroin, Alec agreed to dismember Melendez's bodies. He cut the legs off, put them in a garbage bag, cut the head off, put it in another bag, and stuffed the rest into a box. Afterwards, he and Riggs threw the box into the Hudson River. So they got this young LBGT drag queen boy sitting on YouTube with a goddamn child, with a murderer. Okay? Alec was released from jail in 2014. 3 years later, he was arrested for trespassing and smoking crystal meth outside the Bronx Supreme Court. A few months later, Desmond is sitting next to him filming a video. Look at this little nigga. He's looking crazy. And this movie right here is about the murder. It's called Party Monster. Till Death Do They Party. And surprisingly and coinkadinkly, it's with Seth Green, who's been rumored to be one of the biggest pedophiles in Hollywood, the creator of Robot Chicken. That's a pedophile show. That's a fucking, I mean, I've seen Robot Chicken on Adult Swim. But nigga, Adult Swim is a pedophile channel. Like, you niggas that been watching that and raising your children on Adult Swim and American Dad and all of that shit, Morty and whatever that stuff, all of that, even Ren and Stimpy, like all of those are depraved fucking crackers who deal with child pornography, gay porn, and all kind of drugs, and they've been given an outlet to do what? To create cartoons and animation to desensitize and to debase the audience that's watching it. Okay? These people come from the bottom rungs of society. And here it is. They have, Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, that too. Shit. I would go as far as to say you gotta be wary of the fucking Simpsons. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta be wary of the Simpsons. But Seth Green, we're gonna get to him in a minute. He's the creator of Robot Chicken. Macaulay Culkin, of course, from Home Alone. He was getting abused. He was getting molested. He was getting, taken advantage of in Hollywood. Yeah, hell yeah, Family Guy and American Dad. Shit. You watch Family Guy, that shit has no morality to it. They not teaching you about nothing. That's Seth MacFarlane. That's Seth MacFarlane. You don't know about these people before you go and watch their cartoons and become indoctrinated, and you becoming, it's fucking with your morality, your level of morality, the values that you once had. You watched The Cosby Show, then you went to Married with Children, then you went to goddamn, what's the shit on Showtime? Shamed. Then you went to Transparent. I mean, it's a cycle of how they debased American culture and they dumbed you down. Maybe if you young and you don't come from a time when this shit wasn't on TV and when they were trying to work with us, then you don't even know. A lot of us was born into this shit. People be like, yo, I don't watch TV, but you're on the internet all day. I don't got a TV in my house. Nigga, you got Wi-Fi. Fuck is you talking about? It's more depraved shit on the fucking internet than it is on TV. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is on Pornhub or I don't watch TV. Nigga, you watch granny porn. You know what I'm saying? You watching Philando Castile get his fucking brains blown out. You watching snuff films. You know what I'm saying? You watching bum fights. You watching niggas get knocked out. But you all holy, oh, I don't watch that. Nigga, you're not saying much with that line right there. Like, you know? And that's not to nobody personally. I'm just saying. Like, we got to understand what this internet is. Fuck TV. That's like smoking weed and then you are, yeah, you know, I don't smoke weed no more. Nigga, you're over here buying meth from me. Like, what the fuck? You just went through a gate? You went through a gateway. It's gateway. TV, yeah, we done did that. It already programmed us for 30 years. Now we on the internet getting programmed. Corey Feldman says his life is in danger because he wants to expose pedophile rings that abuse him and Corey Haim. Corey Haim is dead. Former child actor reveals sexual abuse in Hollywood. He was 5 years old. Nathan Forrest Winters dreamt of being a star. We got children that want to be stars. We have children that have star quality. Can you bring them to Disney? Can you bring them to Nickelodeon? Can you bring them to Mona Scott? Can you bring them to Tyler Perry? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Can you bring him to Chris Stokes? Can you bring him to Arkell's to get singing lessons? Who can you trust in this industry? Can you bring him to Russell Simmons? Can you bring him to Harvey Weinstein? Can you bring him to Bill Cosby to eat some pudding, nigga? Who can you trust? We have children who have star quality. They could be major stars. You want to Shirley Temple them? Who can you trust? All of these shows, they're encouraging The Voice, American Idol, My Baby Got Talent. They're drawing them. They're magnetizing them to Hollywood. They're pulling them in. You understand? Social media. Everybody want to be a star. Everybody want to be lit. Everybody want the blue check. So everybody watching a reality. They want to be They want to be on a show. But who can you trust? Who's trustworthy? Who's upright? Who's proven themselves? Movies, music, TV, cartoons, theater, all of that shit. Dance, all of that is corrupt. All of it. Modeling, all of it. Magazines, it's all corrupt. Fashion, it's all corrupt. Nigga talk about drain the swamp. You got set off a roach bomb. Like, it's all corrupt. When he was 5 years old, he dreamt of being a star. By 11, he had the leading role in a film called Clown House. It was a low-budget horror film directed by Victor Salva and financed by Francis Ford Coppola. Behind the scenes, something truly disturbing was happening. Some of the cast and crew came to my mum and said, Nathan and Victor's interaction on set is not okay. There's something going on. The former child star said Salva has been grooming him since he was 6 after he befriended Winter's mother who made film props. Death mystery. Mystery as Playboy model 41 who tried to expose VIP pedophile ring is found dead from drug overdose. After a year after warning, she be killed. Natasha Jait was found naked on bed last year claimed sports stars and television personalities in Argentina were involved in child prostitution. Now, if anybody knows about Operation Paperclip, if anybody knows about the Argentinian sex scandal with the priest, the motherfucker that's the nigga that's the Pope right now, what's his name? Francis, out of Argentina. There was a humongous pedophile ring going on in Argentina. The Nazis went to Argentina. The majority of the SS Nazis were all homosexual. Go and do the research. Hitler's army was all gay. They used to sleep with each other in bunk beds, and that was how they were so goddamn that's why they were fucking heartless. That's why they were soulless. That's why they were able to put them goddamn Jews in the oven. You understand? Because they didn't have any compassion. And for all of y'all that's out there with your LBGT waving flags, the motherfuckers don't got no compassion. So you not gonna tell me about, oh, you should just hang out with them. No, niggas is heartless. They're heartless. They don't have compassion. The majority of the serial killers, the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world, okay, they were violated. A lot of them were traumatized and violated and abused, and that shit did something to them. It created mental health issues. Okay? Serial murderers. When you go and do the research on them, you see about early childhood abuse where they fucking snap. If you go and look at the movie from what's the thing with all of the personalities the dude had. Signs. What's the name of it? No, what's the thing with all of the dude where he had like 23 personalities? He has alters. Where do your alter egos and those alters come from? Abuse, traumatization, and things of that. The shit that they're doing to these little kids, the Miley Cyruses of the world, the Britney Spears of the world, the Christina Aguileras of the world, that whole Mickey Mouse Club, bro. All of that. Split. They're splitting them. People get split. So you have murderers who be like, yo, I don't even know what happened. You know what I'm saying? I heard a voice and I just tapped into a whole nother person, start murdering shit. The former Big Brother contestant and mother of two last year warned her life was in danger after she made claims that sports stars and television personalities were involved in child prostitution. Reports state her death was possibly caused by a stroke produced by alcohol and cocaine consumption. That's some strong cocaine. But lawyer and her brother suspected her death might have been murder. Her brother said she didn't take drugs because doctors had previously warned her that she could have serious consequences if she mixed them with the medication she was taking. Last year, she made a series of tweets and television appearances in the wake of a child prostitution scandal that hit major Argentinian football clubs in River Plate. She claimed dozens of high-profile sports and entertainment personalities were involved in underage prostitutions. The model even warned on Twitter that she could be killed for her allegations. She said, warning, I am not going to commit suicide. I am not going to take too much cocaine and drown in a bath or shoot myself. So if this happens, it wasn't me. Save this tweet. And I'm going to just go on and say this. Astaghfirullah to all of you sisters and you brothers who are in those circles out here with these entertainers and these people, and you know about this shit. Especially the LBGT people out there. You know about what's going on. You know about the pedophilia. You know about the sex rings because your zaddy and the motherfuckers that you run with are the ringleaders of that shit. And you turn a quiet eye. You in them orgies. You at them sex parties. You see what's going on, but nobody talks about it. It takes people such as us to start revealing shit. But the people who is right there juggling balls, they don't say nothing. So you just as guilty as them. In my humble opinion, you a fucking devil. Because you see devilish shit go down, but you want that Birkin bag so bad. You know what I'm talking about? Your morality has already been compromised when you compromise yourself as a prostitute. That, you know what I mean? That shit went out the window. So everything else that goes down around you, you have no ground to stand on because you already fucking tucked your tail. You don't have values and morals anymore. You letting niggas shit on you and urinate on you and fist you and do all of that. Straight strangers. So what kind of morality that you got to blow a whistle? You out here blowing whistles for real. So we gotta approach this shit like this is no child's game. This ain't no like I'm this you know what I mean? This ain't it. This ain't it. But we're not gonna allow people around us to just fucking walk around acting like their hands are clean, because it's not. That's a fact. They not out here blowing no whistles. They not lining nobody up. They not even taking pictures and blackmailing the fucking demons around them and then leaking it or exposing it. They're not doing none of that. They're quiet and they're silent because they've been bought and they have a price. So anybody that has a price cannot be trusted and is not part of this fucking movement and is not part of the truth, and they are part of that side. So we got to draw that line in the sand. If you got a price, if you running around Hollywood dick riding and you got a price, you a fucking op as well. You know what I'm talking about? You a op because you are basically, you know, you have a bigger purpose. Your purpose is not to help people. Your purpose is to get the bag by any means necessary. And we have to save our sisters inside of this whole culture who are they're being tricked and they're being deceived by older hoes to sell their soul. You niggas want to talk about the Illuminati and waste my time with Jay-Z and the Illuminati. And nigga, my Twitter feed and my Instagram feed is worse than the Illuminati. Because the main thing about the Illuminati is niggas was trying to convince me that rappers were selling their soul. So Lil' Kim didn't sell her soul. Foxy Brown didn't sell her soul. The chick that told me to swipe up the other day on Instagram so I could see her selling box and giving niggas sloppy toppy, she's not selling her soul. She don't have ancestors and grandparents and family members on the gram with her. That's not selling your soul. Young boys, Dwayne Wade's son that's touching his toes at 11, he's not selling his soul, nigga. Your soul as a man is inside of your colon. Your manhood is directly connected to the fact that you have an unbroken seal. Once you break that seal, you don't have a manhood anymore. Do you know when men say, I'm trying to protect my manhood? Do you know? They want to talk about Illuminati, but everybody's selling their soul around us. Everybody's selling it. You might as well be the Illuminati, because one of the tenets of the Illuminati is, you know, going, you know, is homosexual acts. That was the wow factor. Oh, niggas is sleeping with white men. Nigga. Niggas everywhere is sleeping with white men right now. Ed Buck is popping in the hood. What are you talking about? Ed Buck it's a whole bunch of Ed Bucks running through these niggas in the hood. It's called Zaddy. LAPD goes after Thor actor accusing big stars of pedophilia. Isaac Cappy is a name that has been floating around internet forums for the last few weeks after he accused actor Seth Green, who I just mentioned, Seth Green, the creator of Robot Chicken, among others, of being part of an underground Hollywood pedophilia ring, though he has since provided zero evidence to back up his claims. Over the past few days, he has been ramping up his social media posts to continue and accuse Green of being a child abuser, along with some big-name Hollywood stars, some of which are to be including Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and Stephen Colbert. Okay? None of the allegations by Cappy against Green have been confirmed or proven true in any way, and many believe that Cappy might be mentally unstable. Cappy also alleges that Green invited him to join the Illuminati last year, stating that he would be given 250 racks a year as well as any car that he wanted. Okay? You know? And I know niggas who heard that right now, and they like, yo, where do I sign up? Because I need the Whippington, I need a foreign, and I need to pay this debt off for DeVry Institute. So that's not a bad deal. I'm willing to take, you know what I mean? This nigga's willing to roll the dice right now and get up in them Hollywood hills and do what it do. You know what I'm saying? And they want a hot boy summer. Them niggas is, you know, they want to act up. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful even with the information that we sharing, because niggas might run with that shit and start acting people on Instagram and try to get in the Illuminati. This came after what Cappy called a dinner party between him, Seth Green, and Claire Grant, where Seth allegedly told Isaac that he needed to talk about chicken, which is a code word for very young children. Not really. That's a code word for some guap, right? Chicken? It was here that Cappy claims Green exposed his pedophile secret, revealing that he likes to have sex with kids. Again, we only have Cappy's word to go on, and none of this has been proven in any way, shape, or form. Right. Here's Isaac Cappy with a letter on Twitter where he apologizes for his activities, right? Before he gets killed, right? He says, over the course of the last week, through introspection that should have happened many years ago, I have come to some stark revelations about my character. It is a testament to my utter arrogance that these revelations have not come sooner. You see, I believe myself to be a good guy. I have not been a good guy. In fact, I have been pretty bad guy throughout my life. I have used people for money. I have betrayed many people and much trust. I have sold drugs. I have tax delinquencies. I have debts. I have abused my body with cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol. I have been abusive with people who love me, including my family. I have expected help without putting proper work to help myself. I have used money to gamble and lose instead of using it to further my gifts. Earlier this week, I committed an act so flippantly, without thought, that will become synonymous with short-sightedness and petty, vile greed, and in the end has cost me everything. I will publicly disclose the details at the right time. You see, while I supposedly wanted to make America great, I have not put much work at all into making myself great. I have wasted much money on speculation and gambling. I have gambled away my future, right? I'm not going to read this nigga's whole diatribe. Okay? This is one of his last words. Here's some quotables about a video, one of his last videos. He said, this would likely be my last broadcast. There's a lot of people that I kept out of my life because of all the Illuminati shit. The struggle against darkness consumed me. Yeah, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I have done a disservice to God. I have done a disservice to America. Did I hurt a child? No. I did not hurt a child. I did not kill anyone. No. I am not being threatened. I took some bait. There was a lot of work in inducing what I did. I'm a traitor, and it happened in the blink of an eye. I accessed some very high levels of consciousness, and then I went way, way, way down. I exposed a lot of bad guys, and now I'm exposing myself. They will write books about the decision on how fucking dumb it is. Did I lie about Seth Green? No. Seth Green is a pedophile. I crossed the line I shouldn't have crossed. No, I did not take a satanic vow. I am not suicidal. And then, right after that, this nigga hops off of a bridge or gets thrown off of a bridge. He said he's not suicidal, but Isaac Cappy, a whistleblower about pedophilia in Hollywood, has been found dead in a case immediately closed as a suicide, a couple of days after making a video saying, I am definitely not feeling suicidal. Okay? So that's how that works. Now, you may think that this is a Hollywood thing, but I'm here to let you know, as I showed you earlier in the quote-unquote lecture, it's not Hollywood. It's white people. It's black people. It's people who have perversions, and they don't. It's at all high. It's in all of the 9 areas that Neely Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing identified as being the outposts and the bastions of what is known white supremacy. Okay, and I showed you earlier that in the 1700s that the Europeans who came in, the 1500s, that the Europeans that they shipped into America were criminals. The Europeans that they brought into Australia were criminals, were rapists, were sadists, sadomasochists, were quote-unquote serial murderers and things of that nature. So the fabric and the nature and the foundation, the founding fathers of this fucking country are these same people that I'm calling out. And what did they bring from Europe? They brought their culture with them. And what is their culture? I'm reading about their culture. I'm reading about their culture. The only culture that they got is this shit that I'm reading about. Because I showed you that the Iroquois, they gave them democracy. They gave them the Constitution. The Moors taught them how to bathe, taught them how to brush their jibs, taught them how to dress, taught them how to motherfucking comb their hair. So what the fuck did they do? Huh? What's their culture? Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, nigga. That's their culture. They take you in a playhouse and play with your Pee Wee. That's their culture. Yeah, of course Australia was a black continent. And they wiped out the whole... That's not a country. It's a continent. And Britain sent all of their undesirables to Australia. Now, go to Australia now and see what the fuck is going on down under. There's no more Aboriginals left. And they did the same thing to the Indians over here. Because when they sent those prisoners into America, they did what? They followed what is known as manifest destiny and the doctrine of discovery, and then they ventured west. And they began to kill as they ventured west. That's what they did. They murdered and they pillaged and they committed homicides and they committed genocide on the Aboriginal indigenous, the Trail of Tears, those people who they took out of their homelands, and they basically brought them all the way into Oklahoma. They created what is known as Black Wall Street. Did you see any fucking tontos on Black Wall Street, nigga? Huh? Did you see any $5 Indians on Black Wall Street? So if they marched the Indians during the Trail of Tears into Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then when we see Tulsa, Oklahoma was a bunch of black people who were prospering immediately after they got marched into Oklahoma, and it ain't no $5 Indians, that will come to tell you that the people who they moved off of their lands, Andrew Jackson, the President Andrew Jackson and them, the Indian land removal, those were our people, fam. And the European immigrants were the murderers. The European immigrants were the quote-unquote massacre. They committed massacres. When you look at the book Without Sanctuary, when they were sending postcards to Europe of our people fucking being lynched, right? With white women smiling and little babies and all of them smiling in the audience, those were European immigrants doing that, who just got into America. Then when you go into the draft riots and all of the shit that was going on, then when you go into the second rise of the KKK, the second rise of the KKK is white European motherfucking immigrants who came on that wave of criminals, fam. Come on, man. Undesirables who came over here and they brought pedophilia with them. They brought Satanism with them. They brought cannibalism with them. They brought it all. They brought it all. And they inserted it. They beginning to make you assimilate to become one of them, because we 55 years into integration. King warned about integrating into a burning house. This is the burning house. This is what a burning house means. So you become what you despise the most. We wasn't raping. We wasn't pillaging. We wasn't doing all of that. A lot of that shit came from the shit that was going on them sex farms and on them plantations where they was boning them men. They was sexing those men. Go and look at Goodbye Uncle Tom, and those men became monsters, and then those monsters became... that's when you find black men in the household raping and molesting and doing all of that. That's not African and that's not indigenous. That's the fucking disease that they picked up from these goddamn colonists. Remember when they sent the Indians out to the boarding schools to get Americanized, they came back gay. Okay? When they was in Latin America and they converted these quote-unquote Aztecs and these Incans, and they anglicized them, and they gave them Wild Valdez and all of that, and they took them from their original tribal shit, Montezuma, Aztec Indians, and they put them in those boarding schools, in those American schools. They came back gay. And even in Spain, when they quote unquote converted the Moors and they conquered the Moors and they made mass conversions and they turned niggas named Muhammad into Alfonso, nigga, they came back gay. Okay? They's playing with their booties, nigga. They were dominating them because that's a war. Remember, man on man penetration from a Roman standpoint is a war tactic. It is an art of war. It's called domination. That's why in war they would do what? They would take male prisoners and rape them. And the older ones, they would murder the older ones. They would rape the men and the women. They would murder the men, keep the young boys alive, and keep the women alive and rape all of them. This is who you dealing with. This is who you calling supreme. This is who you yes sir and yes ma'am and you know what I mean? You at the water cooler, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Nigga, you the fool, not them. They laughing every day like these niggas are so sweet. They integrated you into corporate America. They integrated you into the school system after they was spitting on you and smacking you and burning you and hosing you down. They did not atone. They did not take a shower. Niggas didn't make them pay in blood. You just integrated into their demonic system, into their demonocracy. And you wonder why niggas are so backwards now and why the ancestors have cursed us? You wonder why we can't get shit popping? You wonder why we deteriorating and why we going downward spirals? Do you wonder why? I don't wonder why no more. The more I research, the more I understand. Damn, we got to get completely away from these people because you become what you despise the most. DNA responds to environment. You niggas running around, you want to live around these sadomasochists, you don't want to listen to Jordan Peele and Get Out. Okay. You become Larry King. You become Larry King. You become a patsy for them. You become the black godfather for them. A handler. Don't let me get on that. Anywhere you see a black man behind the scenes who's in power with them white man, that's a Larry King for you. Okay? That's a Larry King for you. He's feeding them. He's a handler. He's the funnel system. He's funneling children. He's funneling the LLs of the world, the Will Smiths of the world. He's a funneler. Tupac Shakur, rest his spirit, he said Quincy Jones was one of those people. He was a funneler. And then when I watched The Black Godfather, him and Quincy is best friends. That's what Tupac said. Tupac said Quincy was leading niggas to the motherfucking burning house. Okay? Here we go. The Speaker of the House. You know how powerful the Speaker of the House? I think if the President and the Vice President were to die, the Speaker of the House is next up to become President. Right? That's how powerful the Speaker of the House. That's how much, I think, what's his name? Bitch McConnell is the Speaker of the House right now. But former U.S. House Speaker Dennis Hastert, right? Dennis Hastert, okay, is banned. Hold on, let me read this. I gotta move this thing out the way. Damn, hold on. Love and light to the Instagram family. Okay? If y'all want the full lecture, hit me on the inbox. That will be for sale immediately after it's finished. And you could get all of this work. You get to see what I'm reading. You don't see anything. You just see me. You get the full lecture. This shit is all visual. Former U.S. House Speaker Dennis Hastert is banned from having contact with anyone under 18 unless an adult is present who's aware that he pleaded guilty in a hush money case related to the sexual abuse of teen boys, according to new restrictions imposed by a federal judge. This nigga's judicating law of the land. You should not have contact with any person under the age of 18, except in the presence of a responsible adult who is aware of the nature of his or her background. That's a fucking monster. Hastert never faced sexual abuse charges because the statute of limitation had expired, but he pleaded guilty in October 2015 to structuring bank transactions in a way that evaded requirements that he reported where the money was going. The money was part of a deal to keep a former student quiet about Hastert's prior sexual abuse of teenage boys when he was a teacher and coach. The former Republican congressman from Illinois was released from federal prison in July after serving 13 months of a 15-month system. Once one of the most powerful men in America, Hastert is now banned from having any pornographic material or using any sex-related